So we're now on air. On air talaga eh. Okay, so for today, we're going to discuss the generations of computer. Yan, generations tayo. But hindi natin dadaanan yung first generation, second generation, yan, mga third generation. So yan yung kasi assignment ninyo, yung mga first generation up to fifth generation of computer. So instead, papasok tayo sa timeline, sa mga by years. Ano ba yung mga naging inventions? Ano ba yung mga naging contributions for each year? Yan. Ang pumasok ay ano pumasok? Si CJ pala yan. Okay, so computer took its shape. Computer took its shape. Dito na ako. Review pala to. Yung review about yung mga early computing devices. Nagsimula tayo sa fingers and toes, which is the first counting tools. Yung di tayo dyan. Yan. Generations of computer. So yun nga, the modern computer, it took its shape with the arrival of your time sa oras sa panahon natin. So it had been around 16th century when the evolution of the computer started. So doon nagsimula. So the initial computer faced many changes, maraming pagbabago. And obviously, para sa ikagaganda nito, for the betterment. And from the 16th century, it continuously improved itself in terms of speed, in terms of accuracy, sa size, sa price. Yan, pati sa price niya to urge the form of what we call fashionable day computer. And this long period is often conveniently divided into the subsequent phases called the computer generations nga. So the first generation here, so ito yung buong computer. As you can see, yung buong room na yan ay computer. Okay, so malaki. So that's the first generation. That's between 1940 to 1956. Ganyan kalalaki ang computers. So, no occupation ng halimbawa, diba, we've been into Mary's Greenfield Academy, diba? Imagine, yung rooms ng grade 4, 5, and 6, ganun kalaki. Okay? Isang computer lang ang laman. Okay? So, ganun kalalaki ang computers before. Yung kasing laki ng baka nga hindi lang 3 classrooms eh. Baka nga mas malaki pa. So, during the first generation, ganun kalaki ang space na kakailangan nila ng computer. And then, pagdating ng second generation, so palit, lumiit na siya. Okay, ito na yung nagkaroon ng transistorized, transistorized computers na yung tawag. So that's the second generation. Sabihin natin half agad, or sabihin natin 1/4 na lang yung natira. 1/4 na lang ng room yung inoccupy ng isang computer. And then, pagdating ng third generation, na-invento na yung mga tinatawag na IC, integrated circuits, so mas lalo pang lumiit. Yan. And then na-improve hanggang sa na-invento yung mga microprocessors, pumasok sa fourth generation, so mas lalong bumilis na yung mga computers, mas naging fashionable na, mas gumanda na yung itsura niya, hanggang sa pumasok tayo sa, ito nga, actually this is the fourth generation, yung ating time ngayon. We're currently in the fourth and the fifth generations. Fourth generation is kung kailan na-invento ang microprocessor. At fifth generation ang kanatawag nating the period of artificial intelligence. Okay, so before modern computers were invented, so bago pa na-invento yung mga computers natin ngayon, yung mga modern computers, na-invento na nga nauna na na-invento natin yung discussion on abacus, Pascaline, Leibniz calculator, yung difference engine at saka analytical engine. So start tayo, Start tayo ng itong year na to. 1943. Okay, ito yung during the first generation of computers kung kailan naka-vacuum tubes, Vacuum tubes ang ginagamit sa mga computers. So sabi ko, the technology behind the primary generation computers was a fragile glass device na tinatawag na vacuum tubes. So in the year 1943, again, we had ENIAC. Okay? ENIAC ang tawag dito. So kita nyo, yung buong room na yan, mas malaki, mas malaki pa yan sa 3 classrooms na pinagsama-sama. Okay? So isang computer lang yan is the ENIAC. ENIAC is Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. So yun ang tawag dyan. So it was built by Prosper Eckert, and John Maudsley. Right? So the ENIAC was built, general purpose digital computer, completed in noong 1943 siya na-invento, but it was completed noong 1946. Okay? 1946 siya na-kompleto. And it was able to solve a large class of numerical problems through reprogramming. So gumagamit din niya ng mga punch cards. Okay? And it had been very large. Kita nyo naman, napakalalaki. And of course, kung ganyan kalalaki, napakabigat din yan. Okay? It had been very heavy, very large, and contained around 18,000 vacuum tubes. Again, 18,000 vacuum tubes. Okay? Tapos
18,000. Siguro sir, ang kalahati niyan, isang buong bahay na.
I guess
o wala pa.
Yun ang sarap pag-aralan ko before, halos isang buong football field. Ganong kalaki football field. So mga ganong kalaki ang nakasakop ng isang computer. Okay na. Okay. Tanda na, 1943.
Sir, ba't ang laki?
No, ganun, malaki talaga. Malaki yung computers before. Kaya nga tayo.
Sir, baka CPU isang buong bahay.
Actually, wala pang CPU that time, Hindi pa sa central processing unit. Kumbaga, marami siyang machines, marami siyang modules dito na kumbaga yun ang nag-i-stand as the processing unit. Okay, so next tayo. After the 1943, 3 years after, 1946 na. 1946. So this is John von Neumann. So it's isang Hungarian-American mathematician, physicist, computer scientist, engineer, and polymath. And he designed EDVAC. EDVAC means Electronic Discrete Variable Automatic Computer. Siya yung nag-design, Siya yung nag-design yan. Pero yung creation or building, yung pagbibuild ng mismong EDVAC, hindi siya mag-isa. So marami siyang katulong. Pero the design, the idea, was his. Si John von Neumann. So that's 1945. Okay? Sorry, 1945. That's 1946, 1946 na siya. Tapos, move forward tayo 5 years later, 1991. Okay, lumiit na. Medyo lumiit-liit siyang konti. Pero hindi lang ito. Okay, this is called the UNIVAC. UNIVAC means Universal Automatic Computer. It was the first general-purpose electronic digital computer. Okay? The first general-purpose electronic digital computer designed for business application. Tapos, ang nag-invento rin nito ay the same sa nag-invento ng ENIAC. They were John Presper Eckert and John V. Maudsley. So sila rin yung nag-invento ng ENIAC, sila rin yung naka-invento ng UNIVAC. And this was intended to replace punch card accounting machines. Okay, kung kanina tapos so during that time, mga 1951, make it by far, isa na yung fastest, it is the fastest business machine yet. Tapos sabi ko kanina, ENIAC had 18,000 vacuum tubes. Diba? 18,000 vacuum tubes yung ENIAC. While UNIVAC, ito ng UNIVAC na to, dahil lumiit na siya kahit pa paano, meron lang siyang 4,000 vacuum tubes. Okay, so 4,000 vacuum tubes na lang itong kay UNIVAC. Moving forward, 6 years after. So natapos tayo sa first generation. Pumasok tayo ngayon sa second generation of computer. So nagkaroon tayo ng fourth run. Fortran is the first high-level programming language for scientists and engineers. Okay? Ito naman programming language ito, software siya. So Fortran was originally developed by IBM. Alam niyo ba pala ibig sabihin ng IBM? Ano yung meaning nun? No? Yes. IBM. Or have you heard IBM? Not yet? Never heard? Okay, IBM means International Business Machine. Okay, it's a company. Kumpanya siya na nagpo-produce or nagmamanufacture ng mga computers. Okay, so Fortran was originally developed by IBM. Okay, company of IBM for scientific and engineering applications and subsequently came to dominate scientific computation. So medyo higher computations na to. No? Higher computations ang nagagawa ng Fortran software. Okay, so programming language siya na dinedevelop ng IBM. In 1957, pasok ngayon tayo sa 1964. Bali, 7 years after. So Thomas Kurt and John Kemeny designed and introduced BASIC. BASIC means Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code. So it's a general-purpose, high-level programming language of site-link designed for the ease of use para mas madali raw gamitin ang pagpo-program sa computer. So Kurt and Kemeny designed BASIC to allow students to write mainframe computer programs. Kung kanina kasi Fortran, okay, for higher computations, ano? For complicated computations, Fortran. So siyempre kung complicated, so dapat well-trained and professionals yung gagamit ng Fortran. This time, si Kurtz and Kemeny, gumawa sila ng user-friendly na programming language, which is BASIC. So ang ganda ng pagkakapangalan na BASIC. So siyempre pag BASIC, madali lang. Diba? Basic lang eh. Di ba ginagawa niya expression sa sa paglalaro? Napaka-basic naman 'yan. Di ba? So pag basic, madali lang gawin. Oh, sorry, biglang nag-move. Alright, so 1964, yung pagkaka-introduce ng BASIC by Thomas Kurtz and John Kemeny. Tandaan niyo yung mga years nasa years tayo. Years ang pinag-uusapan natin ngayon. And kung ano yung naging contribution during that year. Okay, 1964. The same year ulit tayo. The same year. Wala aking mouse yan. So that same year, Control Data Corporation, CDC. Okay, Control Data Corporation. Tandaan ang meaning. Ano yung meaning ng CDC? Control Data Corporation. Okay, what's CDC? CDC means Control
Data Corporation.
All right, Control Data Corporation. So Control Data Corporation.
Control Data Corporation.
Tatandaan ang ibig sabihin ha. Control Data Corporation nag-release ng tinatawag na CDC 6600. So ito yung buong CDC 6600. Yan. So may mga mainframe siya and dito sila nagko-control. Okay, nandito yung mga memories, nandito yung storage, mga mainframes na yan. And generally, itong CDC ay siya ang kino-consider na to be the first successful supercomputer. Okay, so during that time, 1964, supercomputer na siya. Napakabilis na yan. Ano yun ulit, Sophia?
Ano po gumawa?
Isa pa uli.
Sino po gumawa?
Alright, so CDC computer, actually hindi sino eh. It's the company itself. So yun, yung company ay Control Data Corporation. So marami na silang binibigyan ng credits. Hindi na siya binigyan ng specific na tao. Hindi na specific name yung pinagbigyan ng accreditation. But the whole company na. So CDC, Control Data Corporation. Kaya walang pangalan na nabanggit. So the whole company had been given the accreditation for the release and introduction of CDC 6600. Yan. Alright, so that's 1964. Jump tayo 10 years after. 10 years after, 1974. So Intel is also a company, manufacturing company siya. Intel introduced its microprocessor. So pumasok tayo ngayon sa 4th generation of computer. So nagkaroon na ng invention of microprocessor. And later, itong microprocessor na to, ganyan pa itsura ng unang mga microprocessors, okay? And later, it was used in original IBM computers. Okay? Again, IBM means International Business Machine. Isa siyang company na nagmamanufacture ng computers. Pero hindi lang IBM hindi lang IBM ang gumamit ng microprocessor ng Intel, okay? So gumamit din ang DEC means DEC ay Digital Equipment Corporation. DEC, Digital Equipment Corporation, ginamit din siya ng HP. Familiar kayo sa HP? Kasi hanggang ngayon nakikita natin mga HP, mga printers sa HP, di ba? May mga computers sa HP, Hewlett-Packard. Hewlett-Packard ang kanyang ibig sabihin, HP. Hindi pala ako naka-HP. Dati kasi naka-HP ako ng printer eh. Ngayon Epson ang printer ko. Okay, so that's HP. Pag nakita niyo yung symbol niya, small letters lang. Small letters H, small letter din na P. Yun ang HP. Yung DEC kasi hindi na ako masyado familiar. DEC is Digital Equipment Corporation.
Sir, may I go out?
Okay, go na. Okay, so yung microprocessor ng Intel, okay? So the microprocessor also changed how computers were created. Okay, 'di ba kanina? Ito yung kanina, CDC 6600. So when the microprocessor was introduced by Intel, yung computers na usually bulky, lumiit na. Kasi ito kasi CDC 6600, mas malaki pa sa kay Sir Yman yan. Kahit tumayo ako, mas matangkad sa akin yan. At mas matangkad sa akin tong mga mainframes na to. Itong mga nakatayo na to, these are called mainframes nga pala ha. So, mas malaki pa yan kay Sir Yman, mas malaki pa sa tao. Kahit na tumayo ako, mas matangkad sa akin yan. So, nung lumabas na yung microprocessors, yung mga dating malalaki, lumiit na ngayon. So, yan yung dati. No? Ito nga pala actual. This is the actual CDC 6600. Okay, so ito yung controller nila. Ito yung kanilang mga pinaka-monitors. And then, ito yung mga mainframes nakapalibot sa room. Ngayon, mula sa itsura na yan, yan po ang CDC 6600. Okay? So from being bulky and heavy, sa pagiging malaki niya, naging ganyan na lang kaliit ng computers. Di ba? Ang laki ng in-improve nung nagkaroon na ng microprocessor kasi lumiit na siya eh. Lumiit na yung mga laman ng computers. So from being very big, lumiit na siya. Ito na yung screen na lang. Ito na yung screen. So screen is only black tapos green. I don't know bakit ito yung parang blue yata or white. Okay, tapos ito na yung keyboard. There's some switches here. So yan.
Red.
So that's during the 1974 nung na-introduce na ng Intel ang tinatawag na microprocessor. Okay, then a year after 1975, after na ma-introduce ang microprocessor, so Bill Gates, this is Bill Gates, pula ba yun o maroon? So ito si Bill Gates and Paul Allen, so they established the Microsoft Corporation. So another company, no? So yung Microsoft nga pala ay siya rin gumagawa ng mga computer softwares, pati na rin mga personal computers, mga PC. So para kayo ay familiar, ang sikat nilang products ay ang Windows. So yung mga naka-computer dito sa Pilipinas, mostly ang ginagamit ay Windows. Ako ngayon, naka-Windows 10. Okay? So it's an operating system na ginawa ng Microsoft. And Pati yung mga Microsoft Offices, yung mga Microsoft Word, Microsoft Microsoft PowerPoint, mga Outlook, Note, Microsoft Note. So Microsoft ang gumawa nun. Kaya nga MS, di ba? MS Office, MS Word. Yan. So sila.
Excel po.
Yes. Excel. So yun. Ganon. So sila yung sila yung responsible for those softwares. Sina Bill Gates and Paul Allen, who established the Microsoft Corporation. That was 1975. 2 years after, 2 years after, Apple II computer was introduced. Okay, it was developed by Stephen Wozniak. I think this may T. Wozniak and Stephen Jobs. Any triggering about Stephen Jobs? Steve Jobs. Have you heard the name? No? Naku, yun lang Steve Jobs is siya yung founder ng Apple. One of the founders of Apple. Yung Apple products ay yung mga iPad, iMac, iPhones. 'Yon. Siya yung founder nun. So Apple II was introduced in 1977. So sabi nga it was developed by Stephen Wozniak and Stephen Jobs. So naging very remarkable ang pagkaka-release ng Apple II. Okay? When it debuted in 1977, the Apple II was promoted as an extraordinary computer for ordinary people. Ba? Extraordinary computer para sa mga ordinary people. Kasi it is a very user-friendly design. And yung graphical display made by Apple ay naging napakaganda na. May mga graphics display na siya. Hindi na siya basta letters lang. Okay, hindi siya basta text na lang. May mga images na rin siya. And nga pala Apple, noong time na yan, mga 1977 and onwards, siya yung naging leader, in the first decade of personal computing. Siya yung naging leader, siya yung naging, sabi natin, pinakasikat na company pagdating sa computers. Yan, Apple. Kanina, di ba, Microsoft? Na-establish sa Microsoft. Pero, mas sikat noong time na yon, pinakasikat noong time na yon ang Apple. Alright? Tanda ba? Tanda. So may mga Microsoft company, may Apple company. Apple company was the most famous during that time. So sila yung leader pagdating sa computers, mga computer products. 2 years after, 1975, nasa 5 tuloy. 1979. Okay? 1979, VisiCalc is the first commercial spreadsheet. Okay, spreadsheet ito, yung ngayon kasi yung spreadsheet ngayon is Excel. So bakit to he? It should be the. So the first commercial spreadsheet program designed for inexperienced PC users. Sa mga hindi pa nakakagamit ng computers, so yung para maging user-friendly, para mas madali na maunawaan, na-introduce ngayon ng VisiCalc. So bakit kaya calc? Tingin nyo, calc. Ano kaya, saang word kaya galing to? Yes, calculator. So calculator. So visual calculator, VisiCalc. So it was introduced to be the first commercial spreadsheet program. And it was originally released for Apple II. Okay, Apple II. Kanina, di ba, si Apple II, yan. So yung VisiCalc, dito ginagamit kay Apple II. Okay, so kita nyo, this is Apple II. And ito yung nasa screen niya, naka-open ang VisiCalc software. Right? And it was originally released for Apple II by VisiCorp. VisiCorp naman, yung company na nag-release ng VisiCalc. Alright, next is 1983, Lotus Development Corporation. So Lotus naman, kanina Microsoft, tapos nagkaroon ng Apple, tapos Lotus. So Lotus Development Corporation was founded in 1983. Okay, kung saan ang kanilang spreadsheet, okay, spreadsheet ulit pinag-usapan natin. Kanina kasi ay VisiCalc. Okay, VisiCalc yung naging sikat na spreadsheet para sa Apple II. And this time, Lotus Development Corporation, so nag-release sila ng Lotus 1, 2, 3 spreadsheet and became the best-selling PC program. Tinalo ng nadaig nila ang Apple. Okay? Nadaig ng Lotus 1, 2, 3 kasi naging best-selling PC program. Okay? Sa selling nila ng daig o natalo ang ibang companies. Right? Pero pagdating nung 'di ba 1983. Pero pagdating ng mga 90s na, ng mga 1990s onwards, tinalo na sila ng Microsoft. Okay? Nadaig na ng Microsoft ang Lotus 1, 2, 3. So running out of time. 10 minutes lang. And 1984, na-release naman ang tinatawag na IBM AT. Yan, IBM AT. At the same year, naglabas din ng PC ang Apple uli. Okay, so Apple released Macintosh. Tingnan niyo yung itsura ng computers, Nag-iba na nag-iba. Okay? Nagbago yung itsura ng computers. So from CDC, from ENIAC na napakalaki, na buong football field na yung sakop niya, lumiit na ng lumiit. Naging cute na siya. Diba? The first, kung mapapansin, ano pagkakaiba ng dalawa? Tingin nyo. Bukod sa itsura niya.
Is one lang.
Ano yan? Sa pauli?
Opo. Yung Macintosh po, isang
Yung
buo.
Macintosh, naging one piece, di ba?
At ay walay pa.
Nakahiwalay. Okay, tama. Nakahiwalay pa yung ito. Actually, this is system unit. Dito naman, pinagsama ng system unit and the monitor. No? Ano pa? Ano pa sa tingin yung pagkakaiba niya? Actually, magiging remarkable sa inyo yung Macintosh.
Macintosh is
Okay, so Macintosh, pansinin nyo, anong meron na padagdag sa kanya?
yung po yung para pong gupit dun sa insert ko.
Okay, siguro hindi napapansin, This one.
Mouse.
Yun, mouse. So, Macintosh is the first PC na gumamit ng mouse. Okay? Kaya very remarkable ang Macintosh. Siya ang kauna-unahang computer na mayroong mouse. Okay? So, since then, tandaan nyo, Macintosh. Kaya sabi sa inyo, very remarkable ang Macintosh. Okay? Kasi out of, simula pa sa mga naunang improvements ng computer, di ba, may CDC-6600. Diba? Tapos nagkaroon ng Apple II. This is Apple II computer. Tapos, ito na nga, na-introduce ang IBM AT. And then Macintosh. Imagine, 1984 IBM AT, tapos 1984 din lumabas sa Macintosh. Lumabas na yung computer na gumagamit ng mouse. Alright? And since then, nagdire-diretso na yung development ng computers from small Macintosh, lumaki ang computers. Okay?
Lumaki ulit.
Yung system unit niya naging patayo na. Yan. Tapos hindi na rin nakapatong yung monitor, Yung monitor hindi na nakapatong sa system unit. Pero actually, hanggang mga 1993 nakapatong pa yung iba doon Yung ibang mga models ng computer. Tapos yun na. Nag-iba yung trend, Umabot sa nauso ang color black, mga black computers. At hanggang sa naging manifest na ang mga computers na siyang gamit-gamit natin ngayon. Okay, so we have iPad, may mga tablets tayo, may mga what's this? Mga thin layer na laptops. Yan.
Phone, monitor, computer,
Yan.
tablets, phones.
So yun yung naging development of computers through generations. So yung timeline niya, yun ang ating naging topic. Any questions?